it's not as short and sweet as I'm sharing it with you, it's because I'm going into all the detail that you probably need to know when you're downloading this template. But the template itself is fairly short and sweet. It's to the point. It is not complicated.
Most hosts never achieve the results they hoped for. They're falling short on listenership and monetization, meaning their message isn't being heard and their show ends up costing them money. This podcast was created to help you grow your listenership and make money while you're at it. Get ready to take notes. Here's your host, Adam Adams.
Welcome back to the podcast on podcasting. It is your friend, Adam, AAA Adams. And actually, I'm discussing something that one of our clients needed, one of our clients wanted, one of our clients knew that this could help them. And so I created a template, and I'm going to link below to this exact template that you can use to get booked on more podcasts. I believe that the number one way, actually, let me take that back. I don't just believe it, but there is actually evidence that shows that the number one way of getting your own podcast to grow and your business to grow is to be booked on other people's podcasts. And that's what we're talking about today. I have tons of templates. If you go to growyourshow.com/templates, there are a bunch of templates that could be valuable to you as a podcaster. This is one of the templates, and it is the template for the original outreach email that you're going to share with a whole bunch of podcasters that you want yourself to be like featured on those podcasts. And I'm going to read it out loud as well as link you to growyourshow.com/templates. And so let's jump into this. Stephen Libman is our awesome client. Dude, this guy's podcast is freaking crushing it. It was already crushing it before we even got started with him. Just to be honest, I think he was already ranking like either top 10% or top 5% in the world before we ever got started with him. And it's like doubled. I think it started at 10 and now it's top 5% literally in the world out of 2.7 million podcasts. Not only that, but Stephen is in the real estate space. So he and I have known each other and been, I wouldn't say close friends. We don't like go and hang out, but we have a good mutual respect for each other and we know each other really well, which is one of the reasons why he reached out when he found out that we can help him with his show. And somebody that works with him, like his right-hand person, basically called me out on something that I said. I said, yeah, we'd be happy to help you with a template for getting Stephen on other people's podcasts. We would be happy to put this out and create it with you. And so she recently reached out to my team and she's like, hey, where is this? Basically, can you still do this? Are you still happy to do this for us? So I took a little bit of extra time today just so I could create this template. And I thought, you know what? Since I know that it's not just Stephen that needs this, it's probably you, the listener, who needs this as well. So I spent a little bit of time making sure that this template would work for almost anybody out there. And you can literally just go to growyourshow.com/templates. It's yours for free. I basically worked for them and I want to give it to you too. So here is some of the reasons why it's worded the way that I worded it in this template. A lot of people have reached out to me personally with the two different podcasts that I've run, the creative real estate podcast that I sold to Jason, and two, this podcast, the podcast on podcasting. Many people, many companies, many third parties constantly reach out to me and basically ask, would you like this person to come on your show? Or they'll suggest, I think this person would be great on your show because. And I took all of those. Actually, I cannot take the credit for it. Jerisa, who works with me, shout out to Jerisa. She is amazing. She's my right-hand person. I had her put together in one Google Doc all of the outreaches. Well, okay, she probably didn't put all of them, but she put a lot of them. There was like a good handful of all of these. And I'm like, that's garbage. I would say no. I would say no, that's garbage. I like this one. This one's really good. I like half of this, but I don't like the whole of it. So I created a template from all of those other templates, and I think that it's something special. And as I go through the template, now I think it's important, not only do you download the template if you want to get on other people's podcasts, But I think that it's important for you to listen to this episode as I explain why some of these things, because a lot of it is the way that we say things generally can support our agenda, can support us in making sure that these things don't fall on deaf ears. We don't want them to be ignored. And so I've read a whole bunch of like sales books, right? Like different, Never Split the Difference and How to Win Friends and Influence People, and just a bunch of other ones. I couldn't name them all, but great books that I've learned small things here and there. And in this template is a little bit of all of those things. So let's just dive right into it. I'm going to pause every now and again. I'll read the thing and then I'll say, why did I word it that way instead of a way that I heard? So here goes. Number one is the subject line that I put in here, and you can definitely change the subject line. It's totally fine. It basically says, name, I've got a suggestion for your podcast. Okay, so it's basically like that. You're saying, you're talking to the host, and that's actually in the subject line, a suggestion for your podcast. And the reason I did that is because I was thinking to myself, I want it to be like clear. What is this all about? I don't want to bait and switch anybody. I don't want them to think they're going to get one thing and get something else. I want it to be pretty freaking clear. What are they going to get when they open this email? So it's got their name in it, the host's name, and then suggestion for a podcast guest. And then it just says, hi, host. Now, most people that send things to me, I wouldn't say most, but yeah, it's slightly more than half. So technically that's still the most often, the most used is Dear Adam. When someone's sending something to me and they want their friend or their boss or the person as their third party, like we've had a couple of those people on this podcast, when they say the word dear, I already don't like it. It already doesn't seem like I would normally talk to regular humans. And so I get rid of the dear. I don't use that word. I say hi or hey, or even what's up. Like, what would I say if I was talking to a friend? That's what I want to say to this person, not dear John, dear Adam. I just, hey, Adam, hi, Adam. And I put an exclamation. So that's how it starts. And then I put in the salutation. Happy New Year, happy holidays. I hope you're having a good summer. I hope your week is going well. Happy Labor Day, happy Thanksgiving, whatever it is, like whatever part of the season that you might be outreaching, you put the salutation, happy that. Happy Labor Day. Do people say happy Labor Day? Well, whatever you say, just I would put the little salutation in there. It's short and sweet. And then I just basically say, I'm reaching out to see if it's helpful for me to share a great guest recommendation or not. Question mark. With question marks, when we use them in our copy, when I say copy, I really mean our sales copy, our virtual sales letters, our social media posts and things like that. The question, what I love about it is it really gets the person to basically stop and think. It helps them to basically stop the scroll. If it's on social media and you put a question mark, it stops them from scrolling. You have to think more about a question than you do when somebody just tells you. And most people that are doing these outreaches are just telling. That's all they do. It's just tell. They don't really ask or propose any questions. And so it's kind of like we ignore it. It goes in one eye and out the other when we're reading these emails. And so for me, I'm reaching out to see if it's helpful for me to share a great guest recommendation or not. Now, most people, when you say if a great guest recommendation, they're like, that gets them curious. So it incites some curiosity. It piques their interest. Well, what does that mean? Tell me more about that. A great guest, I'm going to continue to read on. And I put in the or not with a question mark because, look, when we only are doing the positive, human beings have learned over time that it's like, hey, I want to see if it's helpful for me to do a great guest recommendation, question mark. If that's all we'd said, people are like, well, this person's trying to sway me. This person's trying to sell me. This person has an agenda. And so I just let it be in their court by saying, should I do this or should I not? That actually does help human psychology to be more open-minded to the thing. And then it just says, this email is to let you know about guest. I put in parentheses on here, guest. So you basically put in, Stephen, this email is to let you know about Stephen. And then you say what they do. A real estate investor who has vast experience with, and then you say specifically they have and why it relates to that podcast with single family and multifamily investments. And then you give one quick sentence. And you can see I put this in the template for you where it just says give one more quick sentence, adding credibility for the guest. Suggest something like, he's the author of XYZ book, or he's the host of XYZ podcast. And actually, Stephen does host a podcast. He's one of our clients. So you'd put that. You'd put she's the host of this podcast. And would probably be a great guest to have on your show. And then it just very short and sweet. This whole thing is short and sweet, even though the explanation on this podcast episode isn't as short and sweet, even though it's not as short and sweet as I'm sharing it with you. It's because I'm going into all the detail that you probably need to know when you're downloading this template. But the template itself is fairly short and sweet. It's to the point. It is not complicated. I was thinking Stephen would be an ideal guest for your show because his, her, or their first focus is to give to your audience and to you personally. B, he, she, they believe or believes in reciprocity and would love to share your podcast with their network. His, her, their network. Use your pronoun there. And most of all, he, she, they teach, insert a new, unique or strategy or approach. And most of all, Stephen shares a way to increase your passive income without this one problem. And then after you say that, after you say the unique thing, then you share what is the benefit to the guest so that your benefits to the audience, so that your listener can achieve this thing in this amount of time, or however you want to say that. It's just give them the benefits. Remember, there's features and benefits. For me right now, I'm giving you the literal, all the details of the features of having one of these templates. What I ought to be doing is adding on what is the benefit. This gets you booked on more podcasts. This helps you to make sure that you're growing your podcast, that you have more listeners for your show, more influence. You're going to make more money. Those are the benefits. And that's what I want you to be sharing here too. And most of all, he or she teaches this unique creative idea, this new approach, this new strategy that would give your audience, your listener, a certain benefit. So put that there. And then you basically say, to keep the email short and sweet, I'll provide his, her, or their bio and one sheet to you only when you ask me to. And I put a smiley face. And basically this is to say, like, I think it comes across as spam when somebody's making attachments. And I think it comes across kind of spammy when people are putting links. When they're sending me stuff, it's the first time I ever talked to them. It just feels like spam when they're putting the links in there or shoving this stuff down my throat. So I like it where it kind of gives you the opportunity. It kind of gives that guest, it kind of gives that host the opportunity to be able to make their own decision and ask you for the thing before you give it to them. I think it's polite. I think it comes across well. And then it just finishes with looking forward to connecting you to, and then you put your name. And then I put on this template, I put that you should have up to 4 different follow-ups with them. And the reason why is because most people, they don't seem to honestly reply after the first email. In fact, I'm one of those people. When people reach out to me, I really do disregard a lot of them immediately. I have to admit it. And you probably have been doing it too. So those people that don't follow up are really losing out. And so when you do this and you're trying to get on other people's shows so that you can grow your show and ultimately make more income, make more impact, leave a legacy, it's important that you remember that the fortune is in the follow-up, because most people don't seem to reply that first time. So here's the 4 quick follow-ups. Hey, host, making sure you got my email with a question mark. Would it be helpful if I sent you over more information on the guest name? And would it be helpful if I sent you more information on Stephen? Question mark. So a couple of question marks. People are more likely to reply to your email if you're using questions instead of statements, right? Anyway, and then it ends with, I just saw your last episode about what? What is it about? I just saw your last episode that you dropped about real estate investing and thought I should follow up with you. So it's really simple. You basically go and look it up. Anyway, I'm going to stop there because once you get the template, you're also going to see how we do the second follow-up, the third follow-up, and the final and fourth follow-up, which is technically the fifth email because the fortune is in the follow-up. So I'm going to save you me explaining all of the details and just basically say that actually 3 is a good one to mention to you here. It says, so sorry to bug you, host, but I never heard back from you, ... If it's not a fit at this time, just let me know and I won't bug you anymore. That is something that I learned from Chris Voss's book, Never Split the Difference. It's a short and sweet, basically one-liner. This is technically 2. Sorry to bug you, host, but I never heard back from you. If it's not a fit at this time, just let me know and I won't bug you anymore. ? And yes, the number 4, you'll have to download it to get it. So that'll entice you to just go to growyourshow.com/templates. With an S at the end, it'll be a plural because there's more than just this one template. There's a lot of them. And it's like templates for almost every part that you need. And so we put this all together for our clients for free, and I want you to have access to it as well. I'm Adam Adams. It was fun to hang out with you, share a little bit of tips and insights with you, especially on the template for getting booked on other people's podcasts. I will let you go forth, and I'll talk to you later. Bye for now. This episode is brought to you by growyourshow.com. Grow Your Show lets you be the star of your show while we handle all the hard stuff. We offer reliable and affordable post-production services that allow you to grow your show organically without all the work. So go ahead and check out the website right now, and feel free to schedule a call with me, and let's take your show to the next level. Again, growyourshow.com. You just press record. We handle the rest.